Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. Greetings and felicitations. I'm your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew this side of an Andorian wedding planner. Praetor Giraffe is here, ready to talk how much she fangirls Reese Darby. I know how much you fangirl Reese Darby.
I'm gonna get so much hate mail.
You are, it's true.
I'm gonna write myself hate mail for that.
You should,
like,
you should.
Yeah.
That'll happen for like the next 90 minutes or so. And hey, Badmiral Simon is here, and I'm still trying to decipher the text that you sent me about this episode because it was just a lot of random, but I liked it. It was good. It was good.
Yeah. You know me, I started connecting the dots to too many other things related to Star Trek.
Right.
Went down a rabbit hole of trying to explain everything at once.
Exactly. That's the fun of doing Star Trek. How we doing, guys? How's life going?
Let's say that it is Monday, and it is the Monday of San Diego Comic-Con, which means that my life is insane, and everybody needs to understand that San Diego Comic-Con is like Christmas, which means that everything is always done last minute, and we're all stressing out before it, but then we have a good time.
I have the texts to prove it. I do.
I was literally, I'm sorry, I'm freaking out. Last year, everybody was late also. Like, it's okay. I am okay. Everybody is okay. Are you okay?
Everybody's okay. Everybody's fine.
I am maybe triple booked. Who knows?
We're going to find out. We're going to find out. I would just like to make a point of contention as if I was Trelane in the trial that he puts Kirk on in Squire of Gothos. I am not a TOS baby, Chris. I am a TNG baby. I think the only TOS baby is Hawk, and I don't even think Hawk is a TOS baby. So
I'm not a TOS baby, but it was definitely something I grew up on.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I've seen all of it and watched all of it a lot, but I'm not a TOS baby.
No, I was not alive in the 60s.
No, me neither. This week it is our review of episode 302 of Strange New Worlds, Wedding Bell Blues. After his last appearance in the classic TOS episode Squire of Gothos, what did Trelane have in store for Spock? What's up with Ortegas' little brother? What's up with Ortegas overall? And did Strange New Worlds finally make Q Trelane canon? Spoilers, they did. We're going to break it all down. But first, I'm going to do it because we pre-recorded last night and Giraffe just did it. I'm not going to make Simon do it.
Oh boy.
So I'll go.
Better not mix up episodes now that we do things in order.
Not in order at all. Thank you so much to our amazing Ready Room level and above patrons. Simon Steger, hey, that guy, he's on the show with us. Jeff Reeve, Tallulah, Jen Stein, Tina Alexander, Joe Saporito, Kang Hui, Takaku Nagumo, Fernanda Nogales, SMK, Colin Davidson, Shatterhand 2049, Jesco, Michael Graham, Emily and Travis, Maggie Light, Wayne Ritz, Gona Vark, Sean, Jay Howard, Mehalani Uchiyama, Matt Harker, Joshua Lewis, Tara Poland, Slope 74, Rude Parakeet, Adam Sanders, Aaron W., Carl Angoli, Michael Kwan, Caitlin Elizabeth Dean, Jim McMahon, Sedano 317, Puka Hair, Three Fry Short, Cat Tippe, Tripping the Read Alert over a Pineapple, Sean Manning, Asher at the Bat, Chris Waterman, RHCB, Martin Simpson, Norman Buckwald, Dave Prime Hildebrand, Taryn J. Robinson, Rod Grenier, Eric the Red, Trouble, Jamie Roberts, Honeyberry, Paul Taylor Pitt, Brett Jones, Michelle P., Margin Walker 82, Melissa Bartell, Jesse Robbins, Kim, Chris Vanoglio, Felix Dax, and our newest collective members. Welcome. Kelly McKinnon and Chief Petty Officer Snuggles, welcome to the collective. I think I only had one jumbled name there, and Giraffe almost made me mess up with her dancing when I was doing the names.
You have a lot of bad rolls.
We do. No, those are just the ready rooms.
Yes, those are all the bad mirrors, Simon. We make $10,000 a month. I do not need to work anymore. Simon.
It's just the ready room.
That would be amazing. My son is, the podcast, you never know who's going to show up. My son, even though he knows I'm podcasting, has decided to come in and show his horse. Trelane would probably come in on a horse. So this is Caleb. He wants you to say hi to his horsey, who we are now naming Trelane because he's here.
No, this is
No.
Oh, okay, cool. Adahop, awesome.
Galahop.
Galahop, that's a cool name.
Galahop?
All
That's
right.
actually
Tally
pretty cool.
ho.
That's a really cool name. All right, I need you to boogie because I'm podcasting, okay? And I'm live. Can you? Nope. Can you go close the door, please? No, you got to. You got to go and you got to close the door. I love you. Nope, you got to go. You got to go. Okay, close the door. Close the door. This is going to be an interesting pod as we're getting ready to go to San Diego.
How's it going on your first day of dadhood, Q?
Yeah, right. This is good. This is going to be very interesting. We'll see how this goes. Also a big thank you to our Badmirals, our EPs, who keep snapping us into other planes of existence. It's you again, Simon, and Chris Waterman, Tara Poland, Brett Jones, Dana, Matt Harker, Jim McMahon, Maggie Light, and Fef. Thank you guys so much. And yeah. Let's do some quick news. I'm leaving on a jet plane. Tomorrow, I'm going to hang out with Giraffe. It's going to be really fun. We're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. Stay tuned for our coverage. Giraffe, Paramount just announced something incredibly cool today.
Yes. On Saturday, after the Star Trek Universe panel in Hall H, there will be something called a strange new spectacle. And this is a live activation. So if you've ever been to San Diego Comic-Con has activations, which are basically experiences that you can do outside of the con. You don't need a ticket for that. You just need to wait in line for hours. But Star Trek is going to have live activation, which means that it's, I think, kind of a sudden spectacle in the middle of the street that will make you feel like you're in a holodeck, maybe. The first one will be in the activation zone, near Petco Park, just after the panel from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. And the second one will be in front of the large Paramount, which is on Fifth Avenue in Gaslamp, starting 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., if I remember well. Apparently, it's a dancing troupe from LA who's going to come. It's choreography. I don't know what to expect, but it's going to look cool. And we're always here for some Star Trek follies.
So they're bringing flash mobs back, eh?
Apparently.
It's apparently theater, dance.
Right.
It's a live experience, but also if you've been to Gaslamp, it's basically a street. So in front of the lodge, I'm looking. It's a kind of activation I've never seen, I think. So
there's going to be dancing.
There's going to be dancing.
It's going to be wild. Yeah. Gene thinks we're going to be put into a musical situation.
Forcibly, much like that episode where people just had to sing and dance.
Yeah, but if you're in San Diego Comic-Con and you don't have a ticket, because I know tickets are very expensive and also very difficult to catch, there's so many things you can do around the convention center, which is not the con, but it's very nerdy. All the bars have themes. So the Happy Bar, for example, Happy Do Bar, I don't remember the Happy Does Bar, is the large Paramount. Other bars have like theme like Super Mario, Barbie, you name it. The whole Gaslamp area has like posters from the studios, and all the activations around the con are accessible to anybody without a ticket. There's also a lot of parties. On Thursday night, there's the fandom party. On Saturday night, I'm going to the LAN party. There's a lot of parties.
A lot of parties.
My con is 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. usually. And Julian is like, I booked something at 10 a.m. I was like, I'm going to die.
Well, I can't really party anymore like you can. So I
can't either. That's why I come at 3 p.m.
Oh, man. You know what I'm excited about, Giraffe? I'm excited about the IDW panel because there's a lot of awesome Star Trek comics coming out, a lot of Star Trek comics that are already out. And we actually had the pleasure to interview Susan and Tilly Bridges, who are writing the brand new Star Trek Voyager Homecoming series, which is coming out in the fall. That interview is coming out on Wednesday. Patrons already got to listen to it. They were just amazing to get to chat to. And that book sounds like it's going to be pretty fucking cool.
And there's also like other writers that will gonna be here at the same panel. Heather Anthos is there, Colleen Kelly, Jackson Lansing, a lot of people we've had on the pod. That's going to be really, really cool. There's a lot of things. There is a lot of cool thing happening this con. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'll feel a lot better once I'm off the plane tomorrow, but
I'll feel a lot better once I'm sitting in Hall H.
yeah, right. Simon's like, can I come?
Yeah,
Come,
that'd be cool.
Simon.
Buy a ticket on
Nobody
eBay for
ever
like
comes to see
$500.
me.
Yeah.
No, he just got back from Paris.
The
Yeah.
motherland.
The motherland. Did I miss any news? I don't think so.
Most probably. Oh no! One more thing. We will be reviewing The Lodge, which is the Paramount activation bar on Wednesday. So stay tuned on our socials because they have the Strange New World bar in there.
Yeah,
That's gonna
that's
be
cool.
super cool.
so stoked. So stoked. Let's I think that's it. Oh yeah, by the way, go to our store. Please support the show, support the pod, get like cool merch, strangelypod.bigcartel.com. We just launched that new We Explore Pike shirt that MC designed, who's in the chat. It's awesome. You should go check it out. Let's get to the strange new loop. So in a perfect world where there were a few more episodes and seasons of the series, which Giraffe I know has been asking for, would you want to see Rhys Darby's Trelane as a recurring character like Q was on TNG?
No.
Chat, let us know as well. Ooh, okay, why? I like this. Why?
No, because I think we had a lot of Q. And it was okay, but also it was not several times in one season. I don't think so. Maybe twice, but that's all. And I think it's also then it becomes Deus Ex Machina that is too often like craved by the fans. Like, why don't Trelane do that? Why don't Q snap Voyager back to Earth? Why don't you know what I mean? So I think once and done, it's fine, especially like once by season. But even you don't want to become a recurring trope, especially a trope that's already been done a lot, because that is a Q. So that's just more Q episodes.
Fair. True. Simon, what about you?
Yeah, I'm team no here as well. You don't want to cheapen it. I think this was a good nod to, all the tinfoil theory of connecting Q and Trelane over the years. And I should just say that exactly what you're saying, Draft. Like there's so much fewer episodes in a season now to even have him in a couple episodes would be so heavy. And it would turn it into this thing where it's just like, is this whole season just about Trelane now? Is
Right.
that
Simon did not listen to the question because he said if you had like longer seasons. Simon.
I think it was a good answer.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm
but
just giving
still,
him the
I think it
rounds
would.
because he's new.
I like it.
But yeah, it would be too much still. And I think that was more Picard's thing. You had
I would agree
TNG.
with
That was the Q era. Leave it there.
We have a lot of answers in the chat before I go. Joel says, I think they set Trelane up to come back this season. Ooh, interesting. All right.
Take that back, Joel.
Eric the Red echoing Picard in First Contact. No. Maggie Light also no. We already have enough chaos. MC no, because apparently they're not able to do anything original in Trelane since they copy pasted the ending of Squire of Gothos. Yeah. Jedi Cat, I like Rhys Darby's Trelane, but I think the Q continuum has been overdone. And I will say that even with more episodes, I'm somewhere maybe closer to a no, but maybe somewhere in the middle, like maybe like once or twice a season. And even the twice, it could literally be like the shit that Mariner had, like when Q shows up for a second and she's like, we don't have time for your bullshit, Q. Something like that. But then that's like, how much are you paying Rhys Darby to do that? And again, that does cheapen it. So yeah, I feel like I'm leaning more towards no as well. This was the perfect little, okay, we did it. And now we can move on to other things. Chris, thank you for the super chat. $2 super chat. Thank you so much. No more Trelane. The line is drawn here. So pretty resounding no's from everybody. I think it's the right answer. Yeah. Let's see. Oh my God, I'll take him. Give Rhys Darby to lower decks, Gene says.
For real.
I think that would work if you had him show up in lower decks.
So Gene and myself were fans of Our Flag Means Death. that we've also cosplayed
Oh,
together.
was a friend of that. I love that show. It was great. I wish that kept
Incredible
going.
show that needs to get one more season, honestly. So and I also love What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh,
The original movie where Rhys Darby is a werewolf. He's a werewolf, not a swearwolf. So I'd love to have more Rhys Darby, let's be honest, but not more Trelane.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, they could repurpose Rhys Darby somehow, I feel, right?
It could be like, like when Q has no power and he's like just here.
A dude, yeah. Yeah. Yep. I like it. Let's get to our review of Wedding Bell Blues. Our order tonight will go Simon Giraffe, followed by myself, and we will start. This is basically just like a giant A-plot episode with some like little bits trickled in, so we'll kind of just, go through it all. Meet the Corby. Our cold open for this episode is a fun little day in the life of Spock, shirtless Spock, which a lot of people pointed out, by the way. While Enterprise undergoes
getting the money worth, listen.
Yeah, with hair.
Yeah.
While Enterprise undergoes repairs, he's picking out a uniform, which was actually, I felt like this was like a callback to Kirk picking out his uniform in Kelvin and Beyond, like a nice little throwback to that. Yeah, I liked
Where
it.
he has all the same uniform.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
He's learning to dance with La'an ahead of Starfleet's Federation Day Centennial celebration. But before they could finish, Spock goes to greet Chapel, who is returning with Dr. Roger Corby in tow, who is also her date to the Federation Day activities. Thoughts on the cold open, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, I immediately was ready for a Data's Day sort of episode, to be honest. Straight from like the Spock narrating sort of the story or narrating a log similar to that Data's Day episode very much. And you have, I mean, obviously we can connect to the things to the wedding after the cold open, but like you've got another Irish wedding.
I like how they managed to systematically piece off the Irish for no good
Oh my God,
reason.
so much.
Leave the Irish alone. Like, Star Trek, what are you doing?
yeah, I don't know. And then obviously the dancing thing. But yeah, this is maybe the controversial sort of take. I'm ready for this to be the end of the Spock Chapel saga.
I don't think that's the controversial take, my friend.
Okay, cool.
I like that it became it started as a controversial thing, and now it's like 99% of us being like,
yeah, everybody's
stop.
there now. Okay,
Please
so yeah, that's kind of where I am. Like, I think it was fun. It's cool. It's quirky. It's kind of what I expect from one of the more light Strange New Worlds episodes to start with, and I'm here for it with the cold open.
Nice. Giraffe?
Yeah, I mean, same. I immediately thought of Data's Day, like they're just following a character through the ship. And that's an episode that I've been asking over and over again. I call it Charlie's work, because of in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where you just follow like Charlie. But I think it would be a great episode to do in a starship. I would love to just follow Spock through a day. Let's be honest, even if nothing happens. I love that he's such a dork. He is. He's a himbo. He's such a dork. And I say it with a lot of love. But I like that it's canon now. But yeah, are we going all the way that Chapel arrives?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Cold open. Yeah. When she arrived, I was like, oh, okay, because I saw the title and all this. I was like, okay, where are we going here? But I like the nudge. I like seeing inside of his life. I love the dancing with Lon. Very hot. Yes, more. And I like that now he's not shaven also. He's not waxed. Because thank you, TOS. That the whole thing about Nimoy and Shatner. Shatner waxed his chest and Nimoy refused.
I actually didn't know that.
Endless fight with Roddenberry. Roddenberry was so pissed at Nimoy that he refused to wax, and Nimoy was like, no. And the whole, is it It's like that. It's the episode with the Nazis.
Oh,
Isn't
no,
it?
yeah.
Patterns
Yeah.
of force.
Yeah, Patterns of Force. Thank you. And it was a real insanity that like Roddenberry was so pissed at him, so pissed. So I like the fact that they went back on this and let Ethan Peck keep a little bit of his hair.
Pecs.
Yeah, it's canon.
Nice.
Canon. Like Spock doesn't shave, so let's go. We're happy about this. The girlies are happy.
The girlies are happy. The girlies
Yeah.
are definitely happy. Can I just get this out of the way now and skip all the way to the end of the episode because there's so much comments about it right now? I think the Irish and pretty much anybody who's ever had a Guinness were distraught at that Guinness pour.
That pour was
I
horrible.
I don't drink Guinness, and I was like, what the fuck?
I learned how to pour.
I
Guinness.
learned how to.
went
I
to
did the Guinness class. Oh, you went to the yeah. So, but the less we talk about that, the better, because I don't want to see a Guinness poured like that ever again. I liked this cold open. I don't really want to repeat what you both said because you both said it beautifully, but I do like dorky Spock quite a bit. Listen, we knew Corby was coming. We knew that him and Chapel eventually get engaged, so this wasn't a shock. So when it happened, I was like, here we go. It's starting. I really like what Matt said here. I did enjoy Lon's exposition about her waiting her whole life, waiting for the Gorn to come back when she really just wanted to be a ballerina. Listen, La'an, we know a lot of her backstory about the Gorn, but we don't know what she wanted to do before that. And seeing this whole dancing scene is really cool. And I have to say, the chemistry between Ethan Peck and Chrissy Chong are it's pretty awesome. I'm liking whatever they're gonna do with that. Yeah. No, it was a fine cold open.
I hope they do nothing with that.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
We don't need more Spock romance on the ship.
No, I agree. And also that's what I've been saying for the first episode. It's like, is that an episode I wanted to see? Not really, but is it a good episode? It's okay.
Yeah.
There's only 10 episodes, and that's what we're doing with a 10th of the season. I'm like, not like I have a choice.
Right. Fair.
I'm gonna enjoy it, I suppose. But it's true that it's kind of it's a cold open for an episode of a series that has a season that has 24 episodes.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Yep. So speaking of what Simon said, I'm so ready for the Spock Chapel thing to be done, as is, again, Draft said 99% of everybody thinks so as well. We do finally get there. Spock and Chapel finally have that conversation. The other guy / breakup convo, but she still invites him for drinks, which honestly is a bad move. All while Trelane looks on from outside the window, which took my fourth viewing to find out. I did not see that the first 3 times I watched it. Spock shows up for the drinks. Again, horrible idea, which we're all going to answer. I just said it, but I'll say it again. Horrible idea. And leaves only to be made a drink by our favorite trickster. What did we think about all the awkwardness and our reintroduction to Darby's Trelane, Simon?
All right, hang on. You skipped over Nurse Ensign Gamble.
I did skip over Gamble. I'm sorry. I did.
Which kind of connects this awkward moment, right? Because anyway, I'll pull you out of this one because he's the one who made it awkward, right? He's like, oh, he's just about to tell us this really romantic story, and everybody's like, stop it. So yeah, why was he invited? Because that's the nice and right thing to do. He just happened to walk in at the worst possible time, I think, is what really happened there. I don't think it's bad, but it's heartbreaking to watch him have half of the story already, about her mother and those last words, and then he's not a part of obviously this grand romantic gesture that became of that. So of course he would turn to the bar immediately.
Yeah, true. Giraffe.
Ensign Gamble needs to be protected. It needs to exist. It needs to be
So
the focus
precious.
of the whole season.
I
don't care about
love
anybody else. I want a spin-off about what are they calling him in the chat? Ensign
Cutie.
Nurse.
Cutie nurse.
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely.
yes, absolutely.
Yes. I don't know. We're talking. Okay, everybody's some kind of stunted person on that ship about relationship. Every single one of them are unable to do something that like random people can like just be chill. Like he shows up. Okay, the woman has the way they separated was also already like kind of not okay, right? And then he just shows up with like
What?
a
Sorry.
gift.
Can you expand on that? What's not okay with the way that they separated?
Oh, like in the singing
bay.
episode.
Oh, I thought that was really more like finally that conversation in sickbay during the last episode,
Well, that too.
Yeah.
Woman is like dying. Is like, can we talk about that?
which
Like,
was
okay. So the whole thing is like we have two stunted person who are not able to connect because they're both weird and they're not the same weird. So it's basically like not wrong pieces of puzzle trying to like match, and then like showing up with a present, then not wanting the present, then going back with the present, then bringing back the present. I was like, why am I part of that cringe? Why must I see that? Like I had secondhand embarrassment through the whole thing. And then like he shows up and I'm like, don't show up. Why are you showing up?
why
my
are
man?
you showing
Like,
up?
like, and
Yeah.
you know what? The thing that pisses me off in like, and that's recurring for me, is that Spock doesn't have any true friends on that ship. Let's be honest. You're my friend. You tell me that you're gonna do this, and I'm like, my man, you do not. I will body check you and lock you in your quarters. You're not going. This is a stupid idea. No, you're not bringing a gift. No, you're not. Like, why is nobody being Spock's friend and being?
I feel like if
"Man,
Pike had
stop."
overheard this conversation, he might have been like, "Don't go, dude.
Don't go.
Don't go."
Yeah.
But he
like,
wasn't there.
Everybody else is supposed to be his friend, and nobody's like telling him, "You're gonna hurt. It's not a good idea. Like, stay away. Just stay away. I know you want to be friend. I know you think you're over it, but you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it awkward. You're gonna make it awkward for everybody. It is an awkward situation, and nobody is addressing it." And I think it's kind of like first grade birthday where everybody is invited because you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think like it was like an extended invitation, like just to the person. But I'm just like, oh my god, nobody has this man back.
That's an interesting
Nobody
point,
has
right?
this man
Because I think the analogy here would be like Data is the Spock of TNG, right? And his like person was Geordi. That was his
Mhm.
friend that was there for him. In Stranger Worlds, you really don't have that with Spock until eventually you get Kirk and McCoy, right? Like
Yeah.
those are his real friends. So like maybe this is a conscious decision. I don't
Mhm.
know. Hopefully.
And even I feel like Jordy even has a Guinan often who's like, my man, don't do this.
Everybody's
know?
got Guinan though.
Yeah, but there's always like this
Yeah.
kind of like, like a Crusher is sometimes that person. Troy, like they all kind of like have each other back in like situation where they're like, I don't think you should be doing that.
Mm.
Spock has nobody. Everybody's just like, yes, go be awkward. What do you mean? Also, it's awkward for everybody involved. Like
Oh, yeah.
everybody sitting at that bar is like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, that's their fault. They should have said something.
Yeah.
Now it would just be cringe.
Before I go, what did you both think about the introduction of Trelane there? Just kind of serving him a drink. I love that video you posted, the wholesome video about the Vulcan in the mirror, but then because he's been on the show before. But that being Trelane,
Mhm.
the instance of starting to mess with Spock.
I liked
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I think it was well brought. I think the music spoiled it before I saw Trelane. I was like the music like went and I was like, oh wait. But yeah, go on I think I posted it on my
You did.
stories on Instagram. In my stories on Instagram, there is a reel made by the guy who played literally just the Vulcan in the mirror in that episode, and it's really funny. It's really wholesome.
He's also the
But-
Vulcan
Great.
who told Spock and T'Pring not to be kissing during their date in the pilot.
Yeah, and I think
Interesting.
in the pilots, that's it. Yeah, it was in the first episode. That's true. Yeah, I think it was well brought. I like that you didn't have to wait so long. I mean, even I think Scotty sees there's an echo at one point, like that he sees on the
Yeah. Yeah.
knows what. So I like that there are hints that something is happening, and we're not gonna wait, middle of the episode to see Trelane. So I like that.
Yeah. Simon.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, we kind of knew it was coming in some way, shape, or form. But I think the reflection thing was the cool part, right? Like, because Squire of Gothos, the mirror was a big part of that whole episode.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it also, like, if you're trying to deal with is this Trelane, is Q Trelane, is he part of the Q continuum thing? Like, it sort of gives you the excuse of like, well, nobody recognized him.
Right.
Because he didn't look, the way that they might have seen him later on. So
that's a good point that I think people are going to forget about this episode that they maybe didn't explain too well, because it was like, well, why doesn't
It
Spock and
goes by
everybody
quickly.
recognize him? Because
And
he was
you'll miss
wearing
these
like a
little
perception filter. Yeah. And he said, yeah.
yeah, you miss these little things because it's like, well, Spock met him again.
Right.
Like, how come he didn't recognize him?
Yeah.
So this is, reconciles
Yeah.
that.
Also, Star Trek doesn't make sense. So
Never.
No, that's the other thing. Like, again, the way this episode like came off to me out of the gate was like one of those like, okay, this is gonna be like maybe not a really serious one, and kind of like, okay, it's a fun sort of lighter one, and you can forgive sort of the stuff when it comes to connecting stuff back to the original series very often, because of that's just such a different show.
Yeah.
And you do have to deal with just a lot of like forgiving or retconning things with that just to make it still work. So,
well, they literally in Squire of Gothos, they literally see the same scene that they've seen like 5 years, 7 years ago, and nobody reacts. So I'm just like, you know
yeah,
what?
Yeah.
exactly.
You know
There's
what?
some of it I just have to be like, sure.
I've given up. I've given up a lot of things. I'm like, I'm not.
But yeah,
No
the
comments,
TOS,
no
there's so
comments.
much of TOS that you have to like kind of look back on and just go like, all right, maybe we're just
I like.
pulling from the source material here and there,
I like how they're very adamant of never having Uhura in the same room than T'Pring in Strange New Worlds, but like pretend that nobody ever spoke of T'Pring in
Right.
front of her ever, so that in Amok Time she's like, "Who is this? She's lovely."
Right.
Yeah.
So, choices were made.
Giraffe said it perfectly. Secondhand embarrassment is a great way to put Spock going to the damn bar. Like, God, dude, come on. Like, I agree. He needs a friend to tell him, don't go. Don't do it. Nope. You don't go through that door. But also, Spock is hella smart. And I know that he's got the sad puppy eyes. I think MC called it sad puppy eyes. But come on, man. You know better. You know better. And the cringe.
He doesn't.
I know he
doesn't know better.
I know he
and
doesn't.
I think it's a matter of intelligence, because
Right.
I think he's book nerd,
Yeah,
he's
fair.
like smart
Yeah.
nerd, but he's not like street smart.
Yeah.
And also, we've all done that.
We
We've all
totally have.
been cringe around somebody that like told us to go away, or like a crush, or like, damn it, I'm still cringe.
Yeah.
I still
Overstay
do
your
that kind of
welcome
shit.
somewhere. Yeah.
And I'm way too old for it. But you know what? I have friends who are like, yo, Giraffe, do not do that. Do not send that text, Giraffe. No,
But he
thank
literally
you."
said it in the scene too. He's a student of romance. So like, of course he's going to hurt himself like this because he's trying to understand it from a scientific point of view, just as much as he's like, unbeknownst to him on some level, probably emotionally attached to this situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why he needs a friend.
That's why he needs a friend. MC wrote, does this mean after Squire of Gothos, Spock, Uhura, and Scotty were like, wait, was that the same dude?
Imagine.
Imagine, right? Right. No, I liked the Trelane intro. I thought it was very good. I really liked Reese Darby's little wink. Made sure to throw that in that video I posted today. That was just perfection. I wanna keep going. Tally ho, the Trelane of it all. Keep talking to him. We are gonna get a little serious here because I think it's something that's very important to talk about. After going to sleep, after having this drink that, gave Spock exactly what he wanted, he wakes up next to Christine. Trelane seemingly snaps them into an alternate reality where instead of celebrating Federation Day at Starbase One, it's the celebration of Spock and Chapel's wedding. Right off the bat, I think it's important, and I know Giraffe mentioned it to me, and I would have done it anyway, that we have a convo about consent, because there's some Wonder Woman 1984 vibes coming from this.
So much.
Especially between Spock and Chapel here, who do not agree to let this happen to them, and really the rest of the Enterprise crew. Thoughts about this, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, this is a heavy topic. I think when it comes to anything Trelane / Q, though, you can look at it as complete loss of consent for anybody involved. So I think on some level that was going to happen here anyway. Obviously, Spock got slipped a Mickey here. That's not great. And I think, and maybe I've missed some subtext here, but for the most part, as soon as anybody realizes what the hell's going on, they very much are like, this can't be a thing. We got to back out of this and make sure this doesn't happen. So I think at least everybody should have a clear conscience for the most part, as they've come to the realization of what, that the magic is no longer covering their eyes on this sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to, you probably have more to talk about it, Giraffe.
Well, I think it's not necessarily for sure they're all under Trelane spell. I don't think it's an alternate universe, by the way. I think they're just brainwashed,
right?
And
I shouldn't have said alternate
Yeah.
universe. Definitely brainwashed. Yeah.
I think everything else is just going as normal, but you have all those guys from the Enterprise who's just acting weird and nobody really knows why, but they're so what? I think for me the problem in that episode is that, well, it's good 90s TV, but it's not good 2025 TV. In the idea that we fall into the same discutable and problematic tropes with the same power dynamic, which means that the woman has no ID and she has no consent, and she's not the one that snapped out. She snaps out when the prince tells her the beautiful things, and then she comes back to hers. But again, it's Chapel having no agency, not being able to choose, not being able to tell her story. If maybe it had been reversed, Spock is the one under the spell and she is the one that wakes up, it would at least gone against the usual tropes in those stories. But it's not what it is, and we end up having two guys, yes, that are the one in charge of deciding what they want to do with the woman. And that's very antiquated, and that's very problematic in itself. And I think it's the same criticism that I had for The Cloak of War. Great story, interesting point to discuss. It's fun or it's deep. But the problem is that the characters that they choose to embody those tropes or those part of the stories are problematic because it's a repetition of tropes that are kind of harmful. There's a lot of women that don't get to choose how they marry or if they marry, still most of the women in the world. And I feel that Star Trek's not going against the odds and not going just narrating against those antiquated systems is harmful in the end. I mean, I wouldn't I don't have a daughter, I don't have kids, but I wouldn't like my daughter to just be fed these over and over again. The princess that needs to be saved. It's very old. Even Disney doesn't do that anymore. That tells you, even Disney doesn't do the fair maiden that needs the princess to decide of her fate because she's sleepy, and it just, the episode was fun, it's an interesting use of Trelane, but yet again, it's not really good for the modern audience on those points. So I think that's what more you wanted to talk about. I think that's what people want to talk about when they speak about consent here. It's not she is drugged and that everybody is under Trelane spell, sure, but it's still problematic in the way that it's yet again a woman under that spell.
Right. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, like it's one thing from a, rationalizing the story point. It's another thing from a piece of modern media
Yeah.
point, as what you're saying. And I totally get that, right? Like it, we've seen this a million times. Like you said, it's like, this is something out of the 90s. Absolutely. And there's maybe a missed opportunity here to be a little bit more,
woman forward,
actually modern about it,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we've seen over and over again, like Deanna Troy being like, mind forced and all these tropes were like, that is super problematic. Like Nemesis, I like Nemesis. I'm an apologist for Nemesis.
You and me
but
both.
this is a super problematic scene yet again, where the woman is like mind controlled into
No
doing
agency.
the beating of a man, and here it's a beating of Spock also, like, which is super problematic. A man that she rejected. And I know he didn't want that, like, he didn't ask for it, but it's still the situation that they are in. And so it's the man she rejected, the ex-lover, the current lover, that gets to decide her fate. And as a woman, it's like a little bit triggering, like a little bit, like a little bit.
I wish this could be written differently.
I've been slipped things into my drinks, when I was younger, and thank God my girlfriend like got me. But it is for me, like, maybe it's like also it is reminiscent of like being stripped from your ability to think for yourself, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying. So yeah, again, Stranger World could have beaten the odds and go somewhere interesting, but they chose to do old TV.
Yeah.
With a lot of budget.
Yeah.
And MC put it perfectly, which is also why I immediately, like, when I saw that and we were talking about it, thought Wonder Woman 1984, because if they just not had them wake up in the same bed and taken out the sexual element, it would have been almost fine in terms of consent, despite the fact that, like, their agency is still taken away. But, like, man, Patty Jenkins, like, having them just like fuck when this dude's body has been like taken over and has no consent to do that. And MC is implied, and I'm not sure if it's the case, but you could take it that way, and I see it, that maybe they slept together like that night. Like, you don't know. So it's like, it's not.
Well, it's heavily implied.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I'm going to sleep somewhere else tonight.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, my God.
And the way they say good morning to each other. So yeah, it's cringe. It's cringe.
And I like MC's comment, because that's a great point. Like, compare this episode to the Elysian Kingdom, where everyone magically thinks they're other people. They lose their agency as well, but it's not putting them in a situation involving sex and love.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because, again, I think as women, this is something that is truly terrifying. Like, to be stripped of your agency when it comes to being given to a man, it's really scary. And I was like, I was really feeling for Chappelle. Like, I always feel for Chappelle because she never get to do anything cool. But here I was like, like, the moment I wake up, if that happens, like, if I'm Chappelle, the one I wake up, like, everybody's gonna get hurt.
Yes.
There's gonna be some HR repercussion. I'm gonna file some stuff. Something is going to happen, my man. Like, this is not gonna fly. Like, you had me in a wedding dress? Like, nah.
Yeah. Let's move on to some comedic beats. Because throughout the episode there are quite a few good ones. Corby knowing things aren't right and breaking into Spock's quarters only to get punched in the face is a great beat. Spock laying into Sam is a great beat. Trelane's rage when the wedding is stopped. Corby getting turned into a dog. What did we think about the comedy in this episode, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, it was lighthearted, sort of silly, goofy stuff that I expect from, again, the onset of the tone here from this episode. Obviously the theme we talked about notwithstanding, but it is from a story perspective also, again, a loss of agency sort of thing for everybody involved, and that's like, haha, it's funny, like Spock's now just punching people, or people are getting turned into dogs and stuff, but it's also kind of like, you punch somebody, dude. Like, would you normally do that? Is that really the solution here? Maybe there's some other way to piss
I don't
him
know.
off,
I think
or get
Corby
him
would have still
emotional.
punched Spock, or Spock would. I don't know. Spock's
I
had
don't know.
rage in Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, he smashed a console in the other universe. But you know, it's goofy hijinks. And honestly, it was kind of at this point that I was a little disappointed because Trelane in the original series is much more like scary in that he is like fully controlling people, threatening to kill people, and has no real understanding of like the consequences of like killing somebody. Like he's gonna duel Kirk and just shoot him or chase him around with a sword and try and kill him. Like much more menacing. This is just like it's like Harry Mudd-esque. You know, it's like, hey, great. He's, you know, a little gremlin on the ship, like ruining people's lives on some level, but like not in a like somebody's gonna die sort of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. I agree on this. I think it's the same problem that Strange World has with like doing humorous episode is that there is no stake in the humor, and it's just like silly, like slapstick stuff. And I mean, take Lower Deck. Is it silly? Is it idiotic? How many times I said this show is so stupid, I love it. Watching Lower Deck, you know, it's sometimes very slapstick, but there's always a dimension to the humor that is bringing you somewhere with it. Like you're following the track of the humor to go towards a point, right? And I think that it's the same problem I have with Charade is that it's funny, but in situation that is not supposed to be funny. And I'm just like, if you had added like a little bit of gloom to that situation, like the fact that, hey, everybody's being mind controlled by a maniac, is turning people into dogs. Like, and there may be some like realization that the guy is all powerful. And yeah, it can still be funny, but with a dimension of stake that will make in for me the episode more enticing. And I think Charade was the same thing. If there was a dimension where like I think only Chappelle thinks it's fucked up, but like people are kind of worried about what's going on. And the humor is here like to make a contrast and like really make you realize that, oh, there's something really not okay going on, and there's that humor on the top that makes you like see the difference between the two. That would be okay. But like here, for example, I don't know. I don't like nobody realize that it's fucked up. And I'm like watching this and I'm like, everybody should freak out way more. Like way more.
Well,
and
well, they were being mind controlled,
Right.
though. Like there was no way for them to
yeah, but
know.
Spock and Corby.
Well,
Right.
they tried to get them to understand, and they just couldn't.
But I don't think it's translated to the audience.
I would agree with that, right? And
you know, the
and again,
music is really and I mean, I'm like, oh, it's like, you know, trouble with trouble funny. And I'm like, but also it's a fucked up situation.
yeah, I would agree with that. Like
Yeah.
again, like going back to the Squire of Gothos, like if you didn't do what Trelane wanted to do, he was going to be a really bratty kid about it and like do something serious, like try and kill you at that point. So it was kind of on this knife's edge thing. You don't have that you don't have that moment here. Like even with their realization of like, this is not right, this is not my reality, there's no threat to their like existence or threat to their life. It's just like you just don't have control.
Well, because they're being like princes, right? It's like, it's literally the fairy tale. Like the prince does what he needs to do because he's noble, and Spock and Corby, they're noble. So they're going to do what's right for Chappelle because she is the point of she's the damsel in distress, right? But there's no like, oh my God, that guy is all powerful and can literally hurt people, and we need to stop him. It's all about liberating Chappelle and not stopping. It's all about putting back Chappelle with Corby and not about stopping Trelane.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like stopping Trelane in a general sense.
Yeah, like somebody should have like tried to shoot him, like they do in the Squire of Gothos.
This is what he's all powerful, but like it's all about Chappelle is not supposed to marry Spock. Chappelle is supposed to marry Corby, right? And that's over and over the point. And not, wait, there is an entity that is mind fucking everybody, And that's problematic in the world we live on because that should not be happening. Also, he turns people into dog. He insults somebody in the audience. He keeps like doing crazy thing. And I'm just like, yes, it is funny. outside of the context of the episode.
Right.
But also the problem is that it is only funny because they've moved the plot point into a place that is inane in itself compared to the situation when you look at it from the outside. Doesn't make
Yeah, it
sense.
just becomes slapstick, like you said.
It's just become slapstick when I feel that the story could have a way more weight and not just slapstick if they had centered a little bit the plot, not only an A plot around, well, Chappelle is supposed to be with that man and not that other guy, you know, which is like, fuck, I don't care. I don't fucking care. Like, she can be with both. For all I care, I do not care. And maybe move it a little bit with like, what is Trelane? Why is he here? What is he doing? Like I kept saying, I was texting Julian while watching the episode and being like, what is agency? Why is the character doing that? And I feel like through the episode, nobody really tries to understand what's going on and just try to put back Chappelle with Corby. And I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care about that. You can fake marry Spock for all I care. They know it's fake. They know it's fake.
That's true. That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
So I'm like, just fake marry her and then like take care of Trelane, you know? Like if it's just that, just sign the paper and then what? Just leave the woman, let her be, and then he's gonna go away and then you solve the problem. You know what I mean? It's like, why is it so important that the marriage doesn't happen with Spock?
Yeah.
You know? Because it's fake. It's all fake. So I don't know. There's a lot of like how they centered the plot for me is more the problem of the episode in itself because I didn't think it was an important point.
Fair. I think that's actually what I liked about the episode because again, like I'm just watching this show sometimes to escape, and this was a great like just escape episode for me. I loved the comedy. I love this ongoing thing that they're setting up that like I think Spock just like really despises Sam, and I thought the comedy aspect of that was hilarious. Like, no one likes your mustache. Your brother is smarter, and also you have a terrible taste in wine. Like, it was a great fucking scene for me. I loved it. I will say the funniest bits from the episode, as much as I thought that Rhys Darby were great, didn't come from Trelane. They came from the rest of the cast. Like, you know, again, I like that. The Trelane stuff at the end I thought was really funny. I love the bit, as fucked up as it is, that he turns him into a dog. The dog was adorable, and they
it was funny.
they
Funny.
auditioned
Also,
a bunch of different dogs, and watching that video was super cute.
why an English bulldog for an Irish guy?
Well,
Like, I do
the
think they have
ultimate
a problem
insult.
with. I think they have a problem with Irish. I want to know. I want to know who has a problem with Irish on that show. They do.
But no, I thought the comedic bits were really funny. You know, I actually, the one thing I will say is that when there was comedy, it was funny. But if they wanted to do just straight comedy, I think it just should have been straight comedy, like not like try to mix like drama and comedy, because I think just doing Rhys Darby full comedy and like you were talking about, Giraffe, the score is very comedic, would have worked a lot better. That being said, I still really enjoyed it.
I agree. If they had done something like the animated series, like the Jokester,
yeah.
Have you watched that episode?
No.
That would have been like, it's basically that. It's like there's an entity that just pulls prank on the Enterprise over and over and again. And it's where like Kirk is a jerk. You know, he has like that written on his back.
Yep.
And it's just like everybody's losing their mind. Like, what is going on and what is it? You know?
Yeah.
And it's the computer. But anyway, spoiler. But I think that if they had gone like really centered around Rhys Darby and Trelane, then I think it would have been funnier. It's just that I was lost in translation of the plot personally. I was like, okay, it's transforming the dog. That's funny. Like the cake, the cake cracked me up. The cake is so stupid. Like stuff that really cracked me up because I was like, this is so dumb. But then they tried to have a stake on the plot that maybe it robbed Trelane.
I could see that. Yeah. Yeah. Yum Yum Pod wrote, I did find Corby pretty funny during the rehearsal scene, just being pushed around and all he could do is give big sad eyes. It's great. And too, like at the end when he's like, nope, I object. And Trelane's like, nope, not that part yet. It was funny. It was really good. There just wasn't enough Rhys Darby. the rest of the episode, all the way to the climax of the wedding, involves Spock along with Roger, as we've been talking about, trying to put an end to something that, you know, let's face it, like, we think that Spock quite possibly maybe would have wanted to happen down the line. I think Spock was much more invested in this relationship than Christine was. You know, he avoids the outfit request, the bachelor party, even getting turned into Tiny Spock at one point, which was
my God, yes.
great beat.
Tiny
So good.
Spock.
All culminating in Spock and Chapel on the altar not going through with the sham wedding. What do we think about Spock's journey trying to finally just put a fucking end to this, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun, silly ride. It's a lighthearted episode. It's exactly what I expect from a number 2 episode after such a serious sort of thing. And I think, you know, of course it's gonna be like one exasperating moment after another for Spock to try and like get to finally like, how do we fix this problem? And I think you're right. Like just Giraffe, like saying like, just get up on the altar and kind of like go through it. It seems to be the only solution he kind of has at this point, is to just, well, I guess we're at the whim of
Sign the
of
fake
him.
papers.
Right.
Who cares?
Luckily he finds a moment there to kind of like, I guess, connect with Chapel to like snap her out of it, but that was dumb luck. But yeah, it was, you know,
He didn't
it
try
was
to
a
punch
goofy
her
episode.
at least, you know?
Jesus,
yeah, he didn't punch her.
Yeah.
He didn't make
Because-
fun of her mustache or
Because
no.
we're in an 80s Disney movie. So you can touch the
You at least
can
can't
touch the
hit women,
And it's
right?
when you like at the altar and you kiss her and then she wakes up. That's all she's able to do. And she's like,
I do appreciate that they didn't like just do that.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been the most egregious thing that they could have done, is like the magic kiss. So
yeah, but it's like they're like
But they
quarter
got
of
real
an inch
close.
removed from that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very, very close. Yeah. I want to say that if any of my friend is ever brainwashed, I am slapping the shit out of you. I'm punching you. I don't care.
Thank you.
You have
Ahead
the
of time.
authorization
Thank you.
to punch me too. But
snap
just
out of
get
it.
me out of it. Like if you know I'm walking to like just punch me. Like yes, slap that out of me. Oh, Tiny Spock was really funny. I like that Spock
Yeah.
tries everything except science.
Yeah, right. What up with that?
But he doesn't know science. It's never been associated with Spock.
No.
Don't you know?
He's a very
it's-
emotional being.
It's a very so he's gonna try everything else. And apparently it's very important, so he really needs it to not happen. So I don't know. It just Tiny Spock was hilarious. We have Giant Spock and Tiny Spock now, just in the canon of Star Trek, and I think it's cool. I think that I would have liked Rhys Darby at Trelane to fuck with him even more. Like, you know, just over and over again. And I think they always avoid to go in a bit of like creepy side of like body manipulation, because sometimes we see in horror movie like people ending up with no mouth or like ending up with like, you know, which Trelane could do.
Yeah.
And I think they're really like always like keeping it light, but it's always still fucked up. You know, and you're like, you're walking a very fine line here, because you really want that episode to not be thinking about being manipulated by an all-powerful being. Okay, I get it. But yeah, Tiny Spock was really funny. I think that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tiny Spock was hilarious. I like Spock's journey here a lot, because I'm sure it's breaking his heart to have to do this, right? Like, he still has feelings for Christine, though it's a little fucked up because he's still engaged to Pring. The whole thing is fucked up, let's face it. You know, I think Giraffe has said it multiple times, and I fully agree. Like, God, the one thing that Strange New Worlds is doing incredibly well is getting us to the point in Amok time where T'Pring's like, I'm fucking done with you. You are a piece of shit. You know, like, he's Spock, man. But no, I like it, and I like that he tries everything to stop it. Besides maybe science. It just, you know, it worked for me. I liked it.
Can I read a comment?
Yes,
And that's
please.
very yes. Felix Dax, right, in the chat. like the Callister episode, and that's exactly that's a great parallel because the Callister, the USS Callister, is the same thing. It's an all-powerful being that has people locked into his will just for his entertainment, right? He body modifies them. It forces them to act and say things and have relationship and not. But it's creepy as fuck because they're really leaning into the fact that it's fucked up and people don't want to be manipulated. And here, it's literally kind of the same thing, but they managed to be like, no, we're gonna make it super fun. It's okay. Everybody's on board.
Well, I think the extra layer there
well.
is that nobody realizes what's happening.
Yeah.
Like they are trapped in this in such a way that they like no
that's
realization.
it.
They
But the
snapped
thing is,
out
like,
of it.
they also, I think that's creepier for me that's what MC was saying, is that they made it sexual when in Callister there's this thing where they don't have genitalia,
Right.
and it's never sexual, and that's the first thing the characters are afraid of. Like the first thing she asks is like, is he like forcing you? And she's like, no, look, we don't even have genitalia. And I feel like Star Trek went like, no, he's forcing them. They're living together. And I'm like, holy shit. Okay then. Noted.
Yummy and Pod wrote, if only this was the episode when Cybok showed up and just as a wedding guest crashed the wedding.
I would love that.
I would
That
die.
would have been
That would have been
great.
so good. It would have been so good. Finally, after everybody gets snapped back into existence, because finally John Delancey shows up as a giant cue ball, much like the end of Squire of Gothos, whipping Trelane into line and confirming what basically everybody's been saying for like 55 years now, that Trelane was a Q all along. What did we think about the cameo and the reveal, Simon?
I mean, as soon as I heard the voice, I've always been that person that was like, Trelane's always like some sort of proto Q at least, or, again, I'll be an apologist for the original series and that like a lot of it doesn't hold up and maybe it's just source material we've borrowed from and built out of more than it is like the historical documents. But it, like as soon as you hear John Delancey and I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing the movie theater scene. And yeah, it was like, awesome. This is cool. I'm glad we did this. Obviously, there was a lot of other nods to it, like all the snapping sort of stuff. That kind of connected the dots there as well. But yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Giraffe.
Yeah, I mean, I was unimpressed by it. I think everybody has been saying Trelane was a Q for literally like ever. I think it was a bit like really, it's that thing where you're like, oh, you think I'm stupid? You really need to spell it out for me so much. I'd like you even have John Delancey there, and I'm like, okay. I think that I was just disappointed. It was just the exact same ending than Squire of Gothos. I think they could have, make something new. They have the budget. They have like everything to just like write something a little bit less on the nose. They're just a read of TOS, and I think that's one of the thing I really like for Stranger World. It was never just redoing TOS, even in A Quality of Mercy. It was always like a spin on things and an expansion around the topic. Here it's just like literally the same thing. They could have set up Squire of Gothos and like kind of explain why Trelane has like so much hatred for, not hatred, but like why he's so adamant about playing with Kirk, for example. Like, well, I don't know, like having some attachment to Spock. Like, I don't know, like adding something that would link the episode to Squire of Gothos. They just did it. They just did the same ending again. And I'm like, okay. Then when Squire of Gothos shows up again, I'm like, wait, same guy? Nobody remembers same ending? When you watch A Quality of Mercy and then you watch Balance of Terror, you're like, whoa, expansion on the episode, like it's adding to the thing. I don't think this episode adds anything to Squire of Gothos.
I would agree with that.
So I'm like, too bad, because you have great writers in there somewhere. Like, I believe in you. But yeah.
You could never have this episode, and I don't think anybody has it. I think the only thing you get out of this is that, you know, Shabbles moved on. That's really the only thing in this episode. I think that's really the only message to take away from it. But I do, from it's a fun ride, sort of like, if we just take this as an on the nose face value episode, I think it's kind of fun. It's nice to just see like, oh, John Delancey, awesome,
Well, right.
cool.
That's the thing for me. Like I had fun. I really enjoyed it. Like I didn't need it to be anything. I loved, like you, Simon, I loved the John Delancey callback. I actually really like the copy paste ending. I think it's a nice callback. I think it's cute. Yeah, sometimes I don't need the game to be changed to have fun and enjoy it. And I love hearing John Delancey's voice. Has Q been overdone to all hell? Yeah. Was this fun though? Yeah. Like hearing, what's this, in that great John Delancey voice? Like John Delancey's voice never ages. So like he's just always Q. And like the minute he said it, I just got goosebumps everywhere. And it was really fun. There was a great comment above, I think, from Chris that I have to read. We just got Q here. Can we get Dorn to come back as the relative of Worf from the movies, to which then Dorn would still hold the record for showing up in the most Star Trek series again?
Was that Colonel Worf or whatever?
Yeah, Colonel Worf. I love that idea. Let's move on to a bit of a very small side plot. That's Erica's little bro. Wedding Bell Blues introduces Ortega's little brother, Beto, who is a journalist who also likes getting blindsided by a haymaker from his big sis. And there also definitely seems to be something brewing between Uhura and Beto. Thoughts on this, Simon?
I don't think you should be into anybody who wears plastic pants.
I agree.
Uhura looked fantastic, obviously, this whole episode, and I really like her top that was like underneath the top that had like the sleeves that went down, and around like the thumbs. It was a really cool top. And then I'm looking over at him, and he's wearing like bags
love that
for
she
pants.
had sleeves that went down to the top.
You know what I mean.
I love that description of a jacket.
No. Because it was the, you remember in the early 2000s when we wore t-shirts over long sleeve shirts?
Oh,
was that?
do, yes.
Oh my God! Why did we
deal.
ever do that though?
Hey,
I knew what you were talking about.
I'm
so, like,
knocking
the
it.
description was like
with the plastic pants.
the plastic pants.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fun. I think it's cool. It's a great way. I think it's for me. It seemed to open more of a door for his sister to like sort of expand more on her. So and obviously at the end of this episode, it's kind of where we're going a little bit. So I think it's cool. We're fleshing out some of the characters a little bit more. Somebody has family now, and I think it's great.
Trav?
I really liked hearing Spanish in Star Trek. I thought that was cool. Latin representation, Hispanic representation in Star Trek has been very poor. And I think it's great that they've added Ortegas, and they're also having Beto and Erica speak in Spanish. And I hate when people I hate when people just everybody speaks English.
That's a universal translator.
And that's the universal translator. But I'm like, I don't know. If I'm with my brother, I'm not going to speak in English with him. I'm going to speak in French.
Right.
And I like the nods of trying to speak in another language so Uhura doesn't understand. And she speaks 900 languages. And I'm like, yeah, I've been in this situation very often where people speak another language. Like, I speak that language too. What are you doing? But yeah, I think it was a nice addition. I like that Ortegas has a family, that she has not the everybody's dead, plot, because I feel that grief is the main mother of everybody on the Enterprise. God, so many dead relatives left and right. So I hope that Beto is gonna survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be great. Please.
I was not here for the romance. I mean, they're cute, they're adorable.
Yeah.
They're adorbs. But I'm like, Strange New World, stop spoon feeding me everybody having their like
Leave that to the fanfic.
straight heterosexual relationship like over and over again. I'm like, I don't care. I don't need people to be in a relationship. I don't need Uhura to have a boyfriend. Like fanfic is for that. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that things like Voyager and like TNG worked so well because it was left up in the air and people were obsessing over it and were like, what if? What if? What if? When you just spell it out, then it's like, well, you just told me to fuck off, basically. And I'm just like,
And we already have that with Spock and Chapel. Like we've
like
done this already.
the endless like serial relationship maker. And I'm like, you know that in Voyager everybody sleeps with everybody, but you don't need to be your episode about it. I think is it in Beyond where like they like low-key say that like everybody has slept with everybody on the ship and now everybody's bored. And I'm like, yeah. So I think that it's again one of those tropes that I feel are antiquated. Like, oh, the girls need a boyfriend. And I'm like, first of all girls don't have a boyfriend.
Right.
Some of them have girlfriend, have their friends, have like just friends, no friends. It's fine. But yeah, it's that need to put everybody in a pair that I find very, and like, really, we don't need to.
I did read it a little bit more as just both of them kind of just teaming up to mess with Ortegas.
I'm here for that.
And I think that if that's the direction it goes, great. Like she's not sitting next to him in the wedding, like he's somewhere else. So like, right, but like there's beyond like that moment or two, there's no connection of these two people together.
Yeah, I think
they kept them separate enough. Hopefully,
but also we've watched Strange New World and we know what they're gonna do. It's a wedding episode.
I don't know. They could kill a journalist.
Oh boy. Okay. Why do you got to say things like that?
I'm just saying he's a journalist, and that's a whole thing that I think would easily be a theme, unfortunately.
I don't need every character to have a romance plot. I don't care for it. I think it's also important, again, for, the kids watching it, or even, people who have, I don't know, for everybody, when a character has no clear romantic partner, you can just put yourself on the character, and just have those like stories.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool. And I think that they have a lot of romantic plots already. I don't think they need more.
Yeah.
Except if it adds to the character, if it adds to the character, then why not? Like Mariner, for example, I feel her romantic plot really added to her arc. It added to the character. It added to her difficulties to have relationship, to stay put, her difficulties to actually speak things when she's emotionally involved. So it was interesting to the character. I don't know if it's interesting to Uhura. I don't know. I'll see.
But we don't need another relationship.
We don't need. I want like episodes that. Please, can we go to a Strange New World? Can we? Can a girl get the title at one point? Like, please.
I like Beto. I like Beto and Ortegas. I don't have an opinion on Erica. I mean, on Uhura and Beto. I don't care either way.
Yeah.
I think something that we talk about a lot right now is like the tropes in 2025 television. I think it goes back to even earlier than that. Unfortunately, like every show that I've watched in maybe like the past 10 years, dating all the way back to like the Arrowverse, like these shows constantly feel the need to put everybody together on the shows, and they also feel the need to make them all superheroes, which is a completely different subject. But like, oh, you're a superhero now, because they don't know what to do with the characters other than like put a cape on them. And it went the same way with relationships. Like everybody just like, hooked up. I don't care either way. I love romance. Like there's some things I agree with the Kevon, and there's some things I don't, but I like romance in television, so I like adding it.
Write fanfics.
I don't want to write romantic fanfic. I want to write fun ship ship, not those kind of ships, ship fanfic. This relationship I don't really care about either way. If it goes somewhere, cool. If it doesn't, whatever. But Beto's cool. I like the younger brother dynamic quite a bit.
We like younger brothers getting punched also. I'm here for it. As an older
I thought that was
sister,
hilarious.
I'm an eldest sister, I'm like, eldest daughter. I'm like, yes, punch the little brother. He knows what he did.
Yeah. We're finally getting a deep dive. Maybe, at least it's looking like we will, a bit more into Erica, who we see at the end of this episode suffering a lot of trauma and PTSD post Gorn digestive tubes, and also post Klingon War. Are you excited to see where this possibly goes this season, Simon?
No,
Oh,
not at all. We already had this.
Sorry.
I already had somebody with Gorn PTSD. I don't need another character to have this. All I'm saying is this. I think the immediate lean into it being a Gorn thing with that like image in the reflection was the wrong direction. I think maybe it could have been about, they could have just kept her seriously injured, like, or something as a result of the injury that was like, or something with like, I mean, she bled out, like she basically almost died, and like, have it be something about a near-death experience, not about the Gorn and being in a digestive tube. We already did that, and we just got out of that with what's her name? La'an.
Oh, yeah.
So like and again, I think to something Giraffe was saying earlier as well, like, does everybody need to have like a totally messed up thing happen to them, and that moment of grief or like horrible experience, does that have to be what drives them to like new levels of character? I think it's ridiculous. At this point, it just feels like everybody on this ship is so damaged that they could never exist on this ship in Picard's era, because Counselor Troy or anybody would have been like, you're not fit for command.
Are you kidding? They let Picard go back to duty the day after he was assimilated by the Borg.
I mean, listen, obviously TNG
No
does its wacky stuff,
No one's
but it's
getting
not the whole crew. The whole crew needs to go on like medical leave for a very long time. Now,
Have you
obviously,
worked with boomers? It's literally this. Everybody's damaged, and you're like, what? Go see a therapist.
Right.
Why?
no, listen, again, all right, obviously through the narrative of the story, people had to have gone through these horrible things, and maybe it is just like the times, right? To your point, it's the generation that lived through this war or through these horrible things, they just all have some level of this. They're in a pseudo military service, so obviously there's going to be some PTSD. It's as what it looks like is a lead up to creating new levels to a character. I don't think that's another thing that we need to do for another character. I think there needs to be a different angle, or just don't do it. I think, Cisco's a bad example of this, obviously, because of how that all starts. But like, you get his father and his home in New Orleans, and you get like this family expansion thing, and it's like, it's great. And that's characterization that I think, you can build up somebody around. And I think we start to do that with Beto. And I think that's the right direction. And then we start to go in reverse with this.
Yeah. Also, Discovery would like their plot back, because a helmsman with PTSD with...
Yeah.
It's like we've done that before. Like, Detmer, anybody? Season 3, hello. And they have a good reason to not have, access to mental health, because they're literally stranded in the middle of another century. But I think that it's yet again kind of like trauma porn a little bit.
Yeah.
Where like a character has to go through something horrible over and over again. I mean, I spoke about it with Uhura. We spoke about it with Uhura. Like has the double thing, right? Loses her parents. Literally, that's the first thing we learn about her in the first episode. Then she loses Hammer. And then we have Lahan, and then we have Pike, and then Pike. It's a double whammy. Like, you know, oh, he's gonna lose his girlfriend, and then he's gonna lose himself. And the only person who I would like to know more about their grief is Spock, about grieving Discovery, or Pike also, and that's like brushed off and forgotten. And I'm just like, okay. I think it's just sad that, you know, women suffering again. I think that Ortega had a good like background already, where we see it in Quality of Mercy, you know, where she definitely has some bigotry in her, like has some trauma from, and in the Under the Cloak of War also, she has some like you know, past trauma. I think adding the Gorn is just like, yeah, I don't know. I want to see the woman suffer. I'm looking. I want to see where it's going. Because it can be done in an interesting way or a different way. But if it's just like a repeat of Detmer, or a repeat of like every single time we had this, I'm just gonna be like, okay, I've seen that 17,000 times in Star Trek. There's less and less Star Trek on TV. Can I get new things? Go to a goddamn strange new world. Put some prosthetic on somebody's forehead. And
Hey, we
like,
had lots of prosthetics in this episode.
I don't care, no strange new worlds. And have them do something silly, and I'll be game. Like, I like just paint somebody blue. I don't know.
Well, obviously, this was not the episode to do something new in.
No, it was not.
Thank you, Gene. We saw Bullions. We saw a lot of different. We saw a lot of different aliens.
Yeah.
Listen,
But they're old
The
aliens.
bartender at the end.
Yep.
We'll talk about that.
Listen, I'm just glad to have anything more with Ortegas, and I think as long as it's an interesting story, I'm here for it. You know, would I have rather it been maybe like focusing on our trauma from the Klingon War, because that already happened?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. This works though. She lost like half her fingers, and then she got stabbed in the guts and almost died, like on the Gorn ship. That's gonna fuck up anybody.
And then Starfleet was like, good enough. You can go back to work.
Yeah, right. Just like John Luke.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's typical Starfleet. I'm never gonna ask Starfleet for good mental health services again, because it'll just never happen. I really, I'm wait and see, because obviously they're probably gonna go somewhere with it. I'm not ready to make a judgment on it yet. Bagel. I always like calling Battel Bagel. Bagel lives. Chris and Marie are spending some quality time together, but Battel is clearly ready to get back out there, and Pike seems to be a bit like a sad puppy. It seems
17 plot in that episode.
Yeah, right. I know. He's a lot more committed to this relationship than Marie, it seems at times. Thoughts on this, Simon?
I love all the little his and hers stuff to start the scene, right? Like the his and hers hairbrushes. I thought was the funniest part. Yeah, I mean, she's captain. Obviously, she's gonna move on to another command unless she decides that she has different priorities at this point. It almost kind of seemed like he's inching towards popping the question in some way, shape, or form, whatever that looks like, you know. In this, is he the one more tied to the relationship or not? I don't think it. I just think he almost lost her, and I think he has some more realizations about some of his priorities, as he knows like he's going to run out of time eventually. Whereas she doesn't have that like line in the sand on her life that she can point to and go, this is where it ends. So like, she's like, I still have more adventures ahead of me. I still have more things that I want to do. And he's probably a little bit more resigned to working with what he's got and what he, you know, has in front of him and what he cherishes in front of him. And he wants to like keep more of, you know, he wants to spend more time with the people he loves before he inevitably dies.
Well, he doesn't die, but
Inevitably
It
goes
turns
in the beep
beep
boop
boop.
chair. Yeah.
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 I mean, you can still have people like, look, Spock still loves him, even in the bip bip chair. Everybody's being a dick to each other in that show, by the way. Like, they're like, you're in the bip chair, fuck you. We're not talking to you anymore. We put you in the corner of your bip bip chair. Like, I'm like, wow. Anyway.
But
Um,
yeah, it was. Again, it was. I think like you were kind of saying, it was a little forgettable. But whatever. I'm done with relationships on this show. Hopefully, again, I'm back on this. Like, this is the nail in the coffin on the big relationship on the show. Let it be the nail in the coffin on all relationships on this show.
I want him back every week. Can he? Because I'm with Mr. I want everybody to smoosh and do no science anymore. I need somebody to put a cap on this. Like, I need science. I watch Star Trek for the science. I
Right?
watch other dumbass shows for relationship and like stuff like this. Ask Jean what she's making me watch. Like,
I think it doesn't all have to be romantic. Like, obviously, interpersonal relationships and friendships
Yeah.
and professional relationships and things like that. Like, you need that. That's it's about humanity in space in some way, shape, or form. But
I was happy that at least that was not a 90s plot, like where she was like, I'm gonna stay with you.
Oh, yeah. That's I
forever."
love that.
Like, I like
Yeah.
the fact that she was like,
yeah,
okay. Everybody needs to understand that if you give me the captaincy of a starship, listen to me.
see
I'm
ya.
gone. I'm bye-bye. Like, I know, man, even now I don't even have a starship, and no man will stop me from going to do something new. Like, no. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You don't want to go? Oh, but too bad for you. You're gonna stay here. I'm gonna go.
I think that's a great point, right? Like, who becomes the captain of the ship? Like, who wants to do that? Somebody who is married to the ship, I think, is more sort of the idea there. So unless this was a massive life-changing moment for her in her priorities, going through like almost dying in this near-death experience, then why would she change like
No,
what
and-
she lives for?
Even more, like, I think like near-death experience make you want to experience more things. You know, you're like, oh, you become
Oh,
very
yeah.
immortal,
Yep.
and you're
Well,
like,
you can go either way. I think that's a personal
he's-
sort of journey. But
He's also
yeah.
a captain of a ship, so he knows what it takes to be that kind of person. So like being, oh, you want to say, it's like, my dude, no, she doesn't.
Well, and that's the thing. What I really liked about this scene, and it's something we're going to talk a little bit about next week too. No spoilers, I promise. I feel like Battel's been through this really hard thing, and does she enjoy her relationship with Pike? I just always get the feeling from her that this is like not if it turns into something, fine, but like my priority is getting a ship again. My priority is Starfleet. Like, I don't want to be tied down. And I really like that that's hinted at a little bit here. I think that, like, you know, honestly, like, out of like some of the more like other like female characters of the show, like Chapel, Battel has a lot of agency, and I like that a lot about her, and why I think she's such a great character, and that really shows in this scene, which is why I really enjoyed it. Like, dude, I'm gonna go on a ship. If you want to follow me, you can give up your command. MC said the same thing. You know, but I'm going back out there, and these are the two types of missions I want to go on, and I'm gonna choose one of them. And I really liked that a lot. We don't do these often, but there were a lot of them. Actually, you know what? Before we do this, because I forgot to put it in the outline, and I know you'll kill me if I don't let you talk about the fashion in this episode real quick. Giraffe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The fashion. I loved it. I'm here for like I'm obsessed with casual wear in Star Trek, amongst other things. I love people always kind of like write off fashion and like what we wear every day has, you know, something really interesting about a civilization, but it is so interesting. Like, I'm 1000% the Devils Wear Prada. Cerulean, do you know what that color is? Like, absolutely. I'm like, I am fascinated by the idea of what the future would wear in a civilization that has replicators, is in contact with non-human species, sentient alien non-human species, and also where basically you must have so many other way of making fabric. 99% of our fabric is plastic today. Most of the thing that you wear are plastic.
Yeah.
Think about it. In a future like Star Trek, there's no plastic. Or there's other ways to do things. So
Just Beto's pants.
Just Beto's pants.
well, most of it's not plastic, but
Right.
I love
Yeah.
that Star Trek has been experimenting a lot with texture, especially in Discovery. Alexander Tran, I think his name is, like really experimented with texture, and I know that Bernadette Kraft also, she 3D printed a lot of fabric. There's a lot of things that were going on like the texture of fabric and that question of like, and Discovery worked a lot on like what would be clothes in the 32nd century where you have reprogrammable matter. Imagine being able to just make your clothes out of reprogrammable matter. Like, and I like that they ask themselves those questions when they make those costumes. I love that Uhura had so many different hair during the episode. I
Yes.
loved it because it's true. You do your hair for a special occasion, like that's important. Like people will not gonna just go in there like what they're normally wearing, except Spock. Yes, that
Mhm.
guy. I like that it's so much. I like the work on texture and also on all those like kind of organically moving shoulder pieces. I thought they were really cool and kind of alien-y. I mean, they're just fashionable, let's be honest. Those are actual dresses that you can buy now. But it's just cool to see people just wearing cool stuff, because that's one of the things that kind of triggers me when I'm in the US. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get hate mail, but people dress very poorly. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. They don't try things. You know, every time I wear something orange, everybody's like, "Oh my god, I love your dress." I'm like, it's just an orange dress. It is fine.
Can I just go off that what you said real quick?
Mhm.
I agree with you. When I was a kid, I went to boarding school, and the first boarding school that I went to, we had to wear the full like suit and blazer, and kids hated it. I loved it. And I was flying to visit my cousin in DC. She had come to pick me up. We were flying back together, and I had my suit on still. And she's like, "You need to change." I'm like, "But I don't want to change. Like I like how I look. Like I like fancy things." And I feel like that's definitely not like respected as much as in other countries.
Well, I think
I've always loved
there
wearing
are two
suits. I've
things.
always
I
loved
just
wearing
because
suits.
there's there's 2 points. Like, I like the fact that in the US I can wear whatever the fuck I want, and most people will tell me that they love it or won't bat an eye. You know, it's like accepted that I go to work in an orange dress or like wearing blue makeup. Like nobody cares. Like you can be covered in tattoos. It's fine. You know, in Europe, for example, people will wear more interesting clothes in a fashion sense of
Yeah.
like design.
More
Like,
avant-garde.
I used to have like a lot of different like hats and coats and like, you know, different things, boots. Like that were like well manufactured and not fast fashion. That's the thing. I don't like fast fashion. And but if you'd wear like something kind of like out of pocket, people would definitely like be like, no,
Yeah.
you can't wear that. Like, go change. So I like the freedom here, but nobody does anything with it. And that's the thing. Like when you go to a wedding, everybody's kind of wearing lame stuff. Like I go to galas and I'm like, if I had that kind of money, do you know how I would bring something like, and I don't.
And you'd make
and
it.
I'd make it.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'd make it. But I think I like that future that has like so many colors, so many textures, different type of dresses, of pants and crowns and stuff. Like I like that somebody's trying to offer the bride. I like that the bride is wearing a short skirt. Like I don't know. I liked all of that. I like that it's very different than a traditional wedding. I really like it.
And I really liked, like the little details. Like I really liked, example, like Chapel's wedding dress, how her makeup like accented it too. Like I some people didn't like the trend of it. I don't know how you feel about dress, but like these gems like under the eyes that go with like eyeliner stuff. Like I thought that was like a really, really nice touch as well. I thought everything in this episode was beautiful.
And it's the makeup artist wait, I'm blanking on her name. I literally sent you a text today.
Yeah,
being like,
I'll look it up.
She's coming to San Diego Comic Con.
Oh, nice.
Bird, what's her last name? Oh boy, I can't remember. Anyway, I think she's doing a great job. I also really like how she's able to make very 60s and inspired makeup while making it very fashion forward and very nowadays, so I like that because, for example, like the big wings,
Scotia Boyd.
Scotia Boyd. Oh yeah, I said
I had to
Betsy,
scroll
whatever.
up a lot
We
to find
texted
it.
a lot today. I was still scrolling. I was like, so like the big wings, like we see in TOS, for example, like the big like colorful eye makeup, like the one I did today. Like, see,
Yeah.
I like that they're taking
Gorgeous.
that. Thank you, taking that and making it like more subtle, but also more accentuated on some part of it. I think they're doing a great job at creating an aesthetic for the show.
Yeah.
And I think that as Discovery, like you show me any costume, I'm gonna be able to tell you that's Discovery or that's Strange New World. Like you can recognize like the hand of Bernadette Croft in like deciding those costume. She also, like, that wedding dress that Chappelle is wearing is from an Austrian fashion
I thought she was
designer.
Australian. She's a native.
Australian?
Yeah,
What
she's
did
an
I say, Australian?
indigenous Australian
I said Austrian,
designer.
Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grace Lee.
Grace Leland Lee, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, who
Yep.
does like a lot of those also organic looking kind of
Mhm.
corset.
That weave.
That wave, yeah. And I think it's just a very interesting way to do it. Again, you give me $1 million to like make costume, like, oh boy. I'm happy
Yeah.
that Bernadette is just like bringing in like fashion designers she likes.
This is absolutely
yeah.
a really cool topic that we could probably
Do a whole
talk
episode
forever
on.
about, right?
Have we ever
Like-
done a costuming episode? Like, I feel like we need to do that.
we should.
I could just talk for 5 hours nonstop.
I think you should host that
Welcome
show.
to my TED Talk.
Yeah, right.
But I think it's great because there's a lot of topics to crack there because, I think one of the problems in US fashion is everything's cheap and mass produced, right? Which leads to it being fast fashion or just like everybody's got a lot of the samey sort of stuff, low
Mhm.
quality, whatever. Nobody really cares,
Huge
but then-
environmental impact.
right?
Huge environmental impact.
But then you, like you say, like you go to, somewhere in a European country, everything's a little bit more one-off. It's more unique. It's, it's not one of bajillions of the same thing. It's
Mhm.
like one of 100
Yeah.
of a few things. And they're put together well, if it's not, a single piece. But you think about like replicators in the Star Trek universe, like wouldn't that lead itself to tons of mass produced sameness sort of stuff? Or does that work differently because now people have direct input to the creation process? And so they can say like, I want a suit. And then you start like kind of picking and choosing elements and, fonts from there.
I think
And
it's
that's what
both.
creates things very
I think it's both. But
uniquely.
like, by the way, France just passed a law forbidding fast fashion because of the environmental impact. Again, all these clothes are made of plastic. Polyester is plastic. So there is a huge environmental impact of having so many clothes. And I like the fact that Star Trek kind of like it's never spoken into the episode, but I know how the designer work, and the designer
Right.
work also in that idea of like what would be fashion in like 200 years, 300 years, what would be fashion when, I don't know, like the Vulcan have a certain type of things, and you have to adapt to different bodies, and you
Mhm.
have to adapt to different planets and situations and all this. And I think that it's just cool. And
Yeah.
you know that Wesley designed his own shirt.
Oh, he totally did. He totally did. I would love
No
to
way
keep
he got
talking
that.
about fashion. We are definitely going to do a fashion episode. We do need to
You
start.
started it.
I
You
know.
know what you did.
I know what I did. Let's briefly, we don't do this for every episode for Stranger Worlds, but there were a lot of them in here. Some Easter eggs. Just to start, Spock waking up next to Corby, a la Tapestry from TNG. Scotty not drinking, despite
was great.
we know him becoming a heavy drinker. The food that Pike made was the same food T'Pring's father liked, and Mother ridiculed him for liking, kind of gave him that look. I think it was like Lafroig or something. Volcadish in Charades. Giraffe loved Little Spock because giant Spock. Amok Time references, a lot of them. Caliphie.
Yep.
Spock mentioning charades again. And then this has been the widely talked about topic, and the question is Trelane, because he's a Q and the son, is he Junior from Voyager?
It kind of look alike.
They do a bit. So that's up for debate.
But see, that's the point. It is what I'm saying. It's like they didn't hook that episode to anything. So I'm just like, well, actually,
Right.
we don't care.
Right. Did I miss any Easter eggs? Arix, yeah.
Arix and Edosian in the Edosian and in the bar. I know that Jean is mad because Edosian arms are supposed to be on the front and they were obviously in the back. I think it's a costuming problem.
It could be. Yeah.
I loved seeing an Edosian in live action. That was so cool looking.
Finally got it.
And is that Arix? Could that be Arix?
No, they have a name. We figured it out. They have a name.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we need to get you into Starfleet. And I'm like,
I think they were just offering her a job as the bartender.
Yeah, I think that's what it was too.
I know. I'm
Just a
sorry to
permanent
break your heart
bartender
on
on the
that.
I was
ship.
like, they're gonna bring her to like the academy, and but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't care that it's a costuming problem. Sorry, Jane, I can't do
It was
anything
cool.
for you.
No, it was
Do
cool.
you think they asked my opinion on this? Do you think they consulted me? No. So
I think that was it for the Easter eggs. Did I miss anything? No? Good?
Nothing else stood out to me.
Cool. Let's do some final thoughts. We will go with draft this time. Final thoughts on this episode.
that episode could have not existed and I would have been fine. I don't know if it brings anything. Is it fun? I suppose. Will it change my life? No. Will I rewatch it? I don't think so. There are other episodes that I really enjoy that are silly and stupid. I rewatch Spock Brain any day because I'm that kind of bitch. Yes, I'll
Fair.
watch Spock Brain. I watch actually like Trelane Tribulation, for example, is a perfect like funny episode for me, or Trouble with Tribbles. My problem is that those episodes kind of like don't bring much to the general lore of Strange New Worlds, and I feel like Strange New World is just closing chapters from season 2, one after the other. They're just like, the Garnet was fucked up. They're gone. Chapel and Spock, we're gone. Like, they're just like locking and losing the key, and I feel like it's like, is that gonna be 10 episodes just like closing season 2? Like, do they know what they've done? Well, they couldn't, because did they shoot season 3 after the review of season 2? Yes, because of the strike.
Yeah. They had
Yeah.
feedback. Yeah. Yep.
See? But I'm super glad that we may be done with Spock and Chapel.
Yes.
And I want it to be done. I want it to be over. Give something else to Spock to do. Give him science, please. Yeah, I'm like, I know a lot of people were really offended by that episode and really hated it, and I totally understand why. But I also have given up. This is a new woman here. I have given up. I do not expect them to ever do spear, like Point of the Spear TV, and we're gonna have 90s track until it's the end of season 5, I think. And I will hope for the Academy. I will just wait for the Academy. I'm waiting for the Academy. That's what I'm doing.
Simon.
Yeah, like we're saying, you could never watch this episode again, and I don't think it changes much other than closing some, chapters on the Spock Chapel relationship finally, and hopefully all other relationships. Otherwise, if you just take it at face value, it's a funny episode.
Mhm.
We get the fan service of the Trelane Q thing, which I think is great and cool, but also like, yeah, we don't have that many episodes. Like, this is what you want to do with it. All right. So you know, it moves inches, not yards here.
Mm-hmm.
Fair. In the chat, where did it go? There it is. Wanda writes, I will rewatch this one. Felix, it made me smile and gave me warm, fuzzy feelings. After all, more is more. Wanda, I agree with Draft that there should be more episodes. I think everybody wants.
Wait, there
at
was a
least
pre-giraffe
few.
there.
There
Huh?
was.
Huh?
Well,
Preach,
that's
giraffe.
I'm giving people's feelings. And I was saying I agree with Draft that there should be more episodes. I'm in this boat. I enjoyed it. I've said this multiple times at this point. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. I watch Stranger Worlds to escape. I don't really need anything from it other than to, have fun for 50 minutes. I had fun. I really enjoyed it. I've watched it a stupid amount of times because my kid wanted to watch it and have to do reviews and do this and then write the outline. So I've rewatched it. Yeah, I will rewatch it again. It was fun. And it was stupid. So I had a blast. Let's get to the subspace to poll and mailbag.
Hailing frequencies open.
And who wants to take the subspace to poll tonight?
Me.
Do it.
Yes. Oh, I was like, there's no percentage. They just appeared.
I may have
Magic.
magically done something while you all
Magic.
were talking.
We asked Track Freds what they thought about wedding bell blues, and this is what they had to say. 21% said, weddings? I love weddings. 63% said, tally ho, that was fun. 11% said, snap me away. 5% said, terrible taste in wine.
Hey, there you go.
More divided than the first episode.
Was it? Oh,
The
yeah,
first
no,
episode
it
was
was.
like
Yeah.
63%
No, you're
off.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Let's go into the mailbag. Simon, do you want to take Dana's mailbag, please?
Sure. Dana wrote shenanigans, flower crowns, kilts, shirtless Spock. What more could you ask for from a Star Trek episode? The TOS and TNG vibes are strong with this one, and I am here for it. This episode gave me all the feet wiggling excitement. The costumes were amazing. Did I mention shirtless Spock?
We know what people want. I will
People
take.
are easy to please. Bread and circuses and shirtless
Hey.
Spock.
I'll take K-Dubs, who wrote, we get a little bit of everything with 302, Chapel and Dr. Corby, the new guy, and Chapel's love interest. Lon appears to come out of her shell with her dancing and a smile. Spock flummoxed by Chapel's new boyfriend, then Trelane putting chaos on the agenda, flipping the script with Spock and Chapel's apparent wedding vows replacing Federation Day, until Spock figures out he's been drugged, which leads, not really drugged, mind fucked, which leads him to, which I guess could be the same thing, trying a couple of different methods to bring Corby around, which eventually works. Almost to the altar when we get Dogby and a visit from a light being that sounds suspiciously like Hugh John Delancey. At first, I wasn't sure about this episode, but I have come around on it. Thank you, K-Dubs. Draft, can you take Emily Rees, please?
Emily Ree wrote, I wasn't sure about this episode. In the beginning, I was a little bored. It grew on me second time around, but it's no favorite. I like Corby. He seems to genuinely like Christine, and he's sympathetic to Spock. The two of them bounced well off each other. Not loving that we again have an episode revolving the Spock Chapel love thing. I want that storyline to be over yesterday. I've heard that some people saw a possible connection between Spock and Lan. Please, for the love of all that is holy, no.
But it's
no
so
more
hot.
Love,
It's so hot.
interest for
No.
Spock. They played in that sandbox once. They don't need to do it again. Besides, if Lan is going to get together with anyone, it's Kirk. And poor Christine, can she have a storyline that doesn't involve men? Trelane Q really is just Steed in space, isn't he? Ha! Our flag means their reference. Speaking of Trelane Q Rhys Darby, my theory is that he is the same young Q we saw in Voyager. Time means nothing to the Q after all.
Very good point. Very good point. I just want to say, Carol would like a word about Lon getting involved with Kirk. Can you take Yum Yum Pods, please, Simon?
Yeah, Young Yum Pod wrote, even though this dives headfirst into the worst aspect of the series, which is the romance of Spock and Chapel, this was, at the end of the day, a very good episode. Rhys Darby brings a campy joy to the role, and he made sure to wiggle his hair as much as possible, which was very, very funny as the episode went along. The true godlike entity that took over the proceedings was actually Sam Kirk. That man stole the show, whether it be his clenched jaw in the awkward bar scene, his entire read of Spock getting cold feet, wanting to sing karaoke, and or the epic dance at the end. It was a delight to see him be a total freak. I did roll my eyes at the end and how Erica is going through some sort of trauma with Gorn. She can't fly. She can fly anything, is a space racist, and now is wounded in more ways than one. Yawn.
Oh man, always
Agree.
love a Yum Yum Pod
Junebug, I
mailbag.
forgot about this.
Junebug.
Thank you, Junebug. A person that's money to buy songs now in Star Trek.
Junebug. Michelle wrote, Wedding Bell Blues had great costuming, a lot of fun beats, and felt like a throwback to some of the lighter Trek episodes from back in the day. The first episodes I thought of were TNG's Cupid and Tapestry. Spock showed some real growth in this episode, and I'm hopeful Chapel and Spock can move on to just good friend stage now. Also, that was definitely Trelane, right? And I love the John Delancey cameo. Perhaps confirming Trelane is a Q. This would be similar to what they did in the novels. I enjoy the Ortegas moments and think her reaction to the Gorn are understandable due to the trauma she experienced. I'm interested to see where her story arc goes, and I loved her brother. His banter with Uhura was fun. There are other things I wasn't a huge fan of, and this wasn't my favorite episodes, but overall, I enjoyed it. Well said, Michelle. Draft, you take Matt Harker's, please.
Matt Harker wrote, I thought WBB.
Wedding
Oh,
Bell-
that's the name.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, what is that? Wedding Bells Blues was a great way to retcon the Trelane character. While I do hope they can give the Spock Chapel romance a rest for a while, I can say it really did showcase Ethan Peck acting chops. The introduction of Erica's brother and giving Uhura some romantic prospect is intriguing, but even more so is Ortega's PTSD hallucination in the final scene. The costuming was amazing. It was pretty cool to see the alien from season 1, episode 1 in the wedding crowd, and the fellow introducing himself to Mbenga looks suspiciously like the Rongovian from Spock.
They were. There was.
They were. Yeah.
Yep.
That intro happened for a reason, and I'm curious to see where it leads. Here's to hoping the new bartender is a dynamic addition to the crew who introduced Scotty to something green. Cheers to season 3 of Strange New World. Hit it.
Very nice, Matt. Thank you. And Simon, can you take Johnny Magoros, who's this is their first mailbag? Thank you for writing in.
You want me to have the honor?
You
of
have
this?
the honor, sir.
All right. Fun episode, but the ending was a bit disappointing, with Q swooping in to anticlimactically end the shenanigans. Also, new Trek fans who have perhaps only seen Strange New Worlds were likely a bit confused by the mysterious and unexplained magical mist that saved the day. They wouldn't know John Delancey's voice or what Q is. It's great if the show throws in Easter eggs for longtime fans if they're mostly inconsequential to the overall story, but it seems like there could have been a better, less confusing way to overcome this episode's main obstacle than to have it wholly and instantly resolved by a nameless figure.
Deus Ex Machina. It's a trope.
Yeah.
It is. No, it totally is.
Yep.
It totally is. I'll take NY Lights, who wrote, I do like this episode, but I wish they hadn't made it Trelane. You've now got the plot inconsistency of how Trelane doesn't recognize Spock and Uhura in Squire of Gothos. Though I think you could still say that it was a, what do you call it, perception field. I guess you could spin it that Trelane and Squire is a younger version of the one we saw in Strange New Worlds. I'm crossing my fingers they'll handle Ortega's PTSD better than they did with Detmer. Very well said. And then Giraffe, can you take Jedi?
So many mailbags.
I texted you. I was like, we have a lot of mailbags. Like, can you take Jedi Cats, please?
Jedi Cat wrote, Trelane is a Q confirmed and is Q's kid. I did a double take when I heard that voice during the wedding scene. Squealing aside, I adored this episode. A great tonic after Hegemony Part 2. We can argue about canon until Kingdom Come. But there's no arguing about how fun and delightful this was. From Rears Darby to the Spock Corby team up to the stunning costumes, I'm glad this part of the Spock Chapel story has come to a close because it was coming dangerously close to soap opera territory. I'm also intrigued with how Ortega's story will play out. It's good to see Trek making an effort to address PTSD, a standout episode and my favorite of the season so far.
Well said, well said. And then, Simon, can you please take us home with Mars's mailbag, please?
You betcha. I'm really having a hard time with this episode. I want to like it. I think I liked it. I laughed. I gasped. I clapped my little hands like a seal while watching it. But I've seen Squire of Gothos, which is later, but seems like now, and now Trelane is a Q, but is it actually Trelane, and is he really a Q? And wouldn't Spock be like, oh, I've met you before later? See, now my brains are all broken, and so are yours. I wish the showrunners would just do new stuff instead of tinkering with TOS stuff.
Well said, well said. Thank you to everyone. I think that's like some of the most mailbags we've ever had in an episode. People had a lot of shit to say, so well done, everybody. Well done. That is going to do it for this one. I'm off to San Diego. I'm going to Comic-Con. Giraffe and I are going to have a blast. Yep. Join us for a watch along in the collective of the pod late night crew of Wedding Bell Blues in about 15 minutes or so, maybe a little bit less. We'll have that going in the watch alongs section of the Discord. And make sure to tune in to the premiere of our episode 303 Shuttle to Confori review. We pre-recorded that last night. That'll be a live premiere, same bat time, same bat place, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time this Thursday. Make sure to check that out. And our
follow, like, subscribe,
hit the bell,
comment,
check out our interview this Wednesday with Susan and Tilly Bridges as well. So for Simon, for Giraffe, I am Julian. Live long and prosper, Majram, and a word from our favorite communications officer.
You fly safe out there.
Good night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.